What's good, you fucking nerds? First freaking power rankings of 2022, post draft, fastest draft in league history because no one let Bryson take 10 minutes. And I've got to be honest with y'all, I'm very proud of us for not letting him do that. We're going to do it a little different this year. I may find myself giving an actual like power ranking of 1 through 8 at some point, but I'm actually just going to power rank the positions. So I'm going to tell you who's got the best running backs, the worst running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks. I did not do the IDPs because they're so fickle, and quite frankly, the scoring form is so stupid that they really don't make that much of a difference. So we're going to get to it. So for Henry County Hard Knocks, first motherfucking power rankings of 2022. Let's get after it. What's the most important position in all of fantasy football? It's running back. Y'all know that. What's the least important position? It's quarterback. You know that. So that's how we're gonna go. That's how we're gonna go through it. I'm gonna go 8-1 on these things. So running back position at number 8, we've got Corey. All right. So what I wrote down a few notes here. Jonathan Taylor, obviously upper echelon. He is the number one running back. I guess it can be debated with him and Christian McCaffrey. However, of course, he is phenomenal. Phenomenal. But AJ Dillon, don't know about him. Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harrison, Damian Harris. They're going to cannibalize each other's touches. So I'm not really sure why you went with both of them in that backfield. Maybe you're hoping for an injury or something like that because you're a sick freaking person and you want injuries to occur. But that's pretty messed up. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he has massive question marks. So that's why I've got you ranked down at 8. All right, at number 7, Camrones. Cam. Your top 3 running backs. Saquon Barkley. I should have had my phone over here. Give me 1 second. I should have been doing this while I'm doing this. So just bear with me, dum dums. Where are they at? Where's Cam? Somebody tell a joke while you're waiting on this. Okay, yeah. So we got Saquon Barkley, we got DeAndre Swift, we got David Montgomery. I personally really like all 3 of those running backs, but not on the same fantasy team because they are absolutely tied to potentially the 3 worst offenses in the entire National Football League. You typically want your running backs to be tied to great offenses, at least to more scoring opportunities for them. So I really don't. I'm not super high on the Tony Pollard. It depends what happens with Zeke. I still personally have Zeke as a bell cow back. Michael Carter, Isaiah Spiller are secondary options. Speaking of the team with Zeke, number 6 is me, Eric Doodoo Butter. Dalvin Cook, he's obviously elite. He does come with his injury risk, though. He is getting older. That shoulder's had quite a few issues with it. But Etienne, Travis Etienne, Zeke, Rashad Penny, and Chase Edmonds are massive risks. My personal philosophy on it was go big or go home. It's an 8-team league. I've always played it safe in the past, and I think that's why I've always gotten second, or at least the past 3 years I've gotten second. So I'm personally swinging for the fences. I also got Naeem Hines, Tyrion Davis Price. That was more of let's just see what happens with him. Number 5, Jason. Can CMC? I have a bunch of questions for you, Jason. Basically, can CMC stay healthy? Is Dobbins even healthy? Is Antonio Gibson the starter? Does Miles Sanders bounce back after a terrible season of touchdown luck? He had like 3 touchdowns all of 2021, even though he had quite a few goal line opportunities. So I personally think he will, but it kind of depends on what. I picture them throwing the ball a lot more now too. And then is Brees Hall as elite as all the dynasty experts say? I'm not sure. And then you got James Cook. We'll see what happens with James Cook. But number 5 is Jason. Number 4, VA Cowboy Killer. So I got to say, 1 through 4, or I guess 2 through 4 were really hard for me to kind of pick through because they were so close. But really what it came down to for Bryson, I do genuinely like this running back core. I'd like it a lot more, though, if it was a full PPR league. Kamara is obviously, he can score millions and millions of touchdowns. He had like 16 touchdowns 2 years ago or something like that. I'm curious at what this offense is going to look like. I'm curious if he actually gets a freaking suspension or something too. But yeah, Eckler is going to be amazing. And Robinson, let me just say this. James Robinson, I've heard nothing but like great reports out of camp from him, or for him, I guess. He could be a freaking steal in the 19th round. Number 3, we got Nick. Mixon and Akers are slated to be workhorse backs. We'll see how Akers turns out. He had some pretty terrible yards per carry, but he also came back in the same fucking calendar year from, or not same calendar, it was same calendar year from a freaking Achilles tear. So another an offseason removed from that, he should be good. I really don't understand why you drafted Kareem Hunt after you drafted Nick Chubb, but that backfield is going to be nasty. So I think Kareem Hunt has standalone value, and if he gets traded to Atlanta, that moves you up to number 1 in my opinion in these rankings. And Gordon is Melvin Gordon, absolute league winner if Javonte goes down to injury. I doubt that, but he's still going to be a thorn in Javonte Williams' side in Denver. Number 2, Josh Jarrett, JJ. Freaking Najee Harris, Leonard Fournette, and Dameon Pierce are the clear, far and away number 1 running backs on their teams. Aaron Jones is going to catch 70-plus balls, in my opinion. And Zamir White absolutely has massive potential. He was the chosen running back by Josh McDaniels and his new kind of staff in Las Vegas. So maybe it ain't going to happen this year, but Zamir White is going to be a probably top 4 round pick next season. And then number 1, that leaves Josh Mitchell, Joe Mitch, Derrick Henry, Jesus, Javonte Williams, James Conner, Josh Jacobs. That's fucking nasty, man. That's a nasty foursome of freaking running backs. And you got Devin Singletary and Darrell Henderson on the bench. I love what you did with your running back core. Don't change anything. Now to wide receivers. We're going to talk about Joe Mitch again because terrible. Your wide receivers are fucking terrible, man. And that just kind of is what happens when T. Higgins is your number 1 wide receiver. You don't have one actual number 1 wide receiver for their team. You could argue that Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number 1. I would argue once Jameson Williams gets healthy, he's the number 1. So I don't really like what you did there, but your running backs are so good it should make up for it. Oh, sweet. I was worried I wasn't recording for a second. Number 7, we got Josh. This is just a fucking flip-flop here. We got Josh Jarrett, Justin Jefferson, absolute stud. There's no arguing that, but I really do not like your options after him. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Mike Williams. I want to talk about his splits real quick. I don't have a whole lot of stats in here, but the first 5 weeks of the season, he was on a 173 target pace and a 20 touchdown pace, 1,600 yards and over 100 catches. From week 6, hold on. Stupid fucking thing is being stupid. From week 6 to week 17, he was on 121 target pace, still really good for a number 2 receiver, but down to 5 touchdowns and just barely over 1,000 yards and 70 receptions. So if he goes closer to that, I don't know, last 3 quarters of the season that he had last year, he is not a value there. I really don't like that. Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Christian Kirk have absolutely underwhelmed, in my opinion. Hollywood Brown, you can argue maybe, but as far as consistency goes, he has not. Rashad Bateman is the number 2 pass-catching option on a very low-volume pass offense, so I'm not really enamored with this wide receiver core. For number 6 is Bryson. I think there's a lot of talent there. Actually, there is a lot of talent there, but there's a ton of new environments. A.J. Brown is new. Cortland Sutton has a new quarterback. Granted, that should be good for him, but who knows? Allen Robinson's in a new place. Drake London is a rookie. DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Romeo Doubs is a rookie. So that worries me quite a bit. Swing for the fences, you do you, but I would like just at least if you had like a little bit of stability in that wide receiving core. Number 5, we got Corey. This one was hard for me. Honestly, 2 through 5 was hard for me. Corey, Diggs is great, no question. We ain't going to even freaking worry about that. Tyreek Hill, super talented. My worry is he is now 28 years old. I think he turns 29 here soon. When is his explosiveness going to leave him? I think it could be sooner rather than later. But he's also without Patrick Mahomes for the first time in his career. You go from Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa, that is a massive, massive downgrade. We got Terry McLaurin. He finally has some sort of competition from a draft capital standpoint. And he has Carson Wentz at quarterback, which is probably an upgrade from Taylor, whatever his name is, Taylor Heineke, Cam's dude. So that could be good, but he's never faced competition before, really. Godwin probably not going to be back till like mid-November is what I've heard. There's been a lot of different reports. And then Hunter Renfrow. Let me just say this. I like Brandon Ayuk. I really do. Tyler Boyd, great value at the end of the draft. George Pickens, I think he's going to be good next year once Clace Chapel leaves. But Hunter Renfrow is at best the third option on what is going to be a really good offense, but still it's going to be the third option. Number 4 is Eric. All right, what did I have? Cup is not going to produce like he did in 2021. That's just when you win the Triple Crown. It's like when you rush for 2,000 yards. You're not going to do it again the next year. When you win the Triple Crown in receiving, you're just simply not going to do it the next year. But in my opinion, he has the highest probability to still finish as a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy. So I really love that. Mike Evans, Darnell Mooney, Michael Thomas, Kadarius Toney, they all are number 1 wide receivers on their team. However, they have question marks, whether it be the quarterback, whether it be their health, or whether it just be the health of the offense, I guess, in general. Like, is Darnell Mooney even attached to a good offense? Let me answer that question. No, he's not. Is Kadarius Toney? No, he's not. But the good thing about those two guys is they are the clear and away number 1 options on their teams. I would just say that Michael Gallup is the X factor. I do believe with let's say I think there's a 35% probability that he might be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy on his team. I'm really worried about CeeDee Lamb being a freaking bust, but that's beside the point. Where am I at? Number 3, we got Camarones again. Lacking in true star power, however, by God, there is a lot of depth there, dude. Michael Pittman, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, and Brandon Cooks are absolutely, they profile to be the number 1 wide receiver on their teams. I love that shit right there. And then you've got a ton of upside in Allen Lazard and Treylon Burks, who really could take massive steps and really, really anchor your team. Or I guess not even anchor, but buoy your team into something really scary. So I like those two guys, like deeper in your wide receiving core. Number 2, we got Nick. So that means Nick has been number 3 in running backs and number 2 in wide receivers. That's pretty damn good right there. Jamar Chase, superstar. No denying that. DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, Robert Woods, and Garrett Wilson they profile to be the number 1 targets on their teams. Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy are just premium number 2 options on their teams. Nick, I freaking love the depth that you got there. And I love the fact that you just stack so many number 1 wide receivers on the same team. That's really what you want to do. You want targets, man. That's all you want. Just targets. I love it. I love the target volume they're going to get, and I love the depth. So I think you did a phenomenal job. Number 1 is Jason, as much as I hate to say it, but good God, dude. Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, and Deebo Samuel. That trio is the best in the league, whether we're talking about trio of running backs, trio of wide receivers. Hopefully no one has a trio of tight ends or quarterbacks, but I can't. I'm not crazy about your depth at the position. I don't think you have a lot, but I simply cannot ignore how freaking good those top 3 are. Like, that's ridiculous. And I do have my doubts about CeeDee Lamb. I do have my doubts about Deebo Samuel. Even if they're, CeeDee should take a step forward, we'll say. But even if Deebo is 85% of what he was last year, he's still going to be freaking great. So I love that trio there. That's going to be scary to play against every week. All right, we go into tight end next. Number 8, Bryson bringing up the rear. I do like Ertz, man. I really do like Zach Ertz. But he's going to be the number 3 target at best when Hopkins returns after suspension. And really, to me, I think you're gonna have a hard time deciding whether to start Ertz or Cole Kmet um, any given week, and that's just not a headache that I think that anybody should really want or draft themselves into. Number 7 is Nick. I applaud you for only taking one tight end. Good for you. That's how you're supposed to do it. But Dallas Goddard was definitely the end of a tier. So I'm not crazy about Dallas Goddard, honestly. Cam is number 6. Can Schultz follow up his 2021 amazing performance in 2021? Now you've had to drafters have had to sink pretty significant draft capital into him, so he has to produce like he did last year. I'm curious if that's going to happen, especially with Tyron Smith being out, and the health of that offense is starting to really scare me a little bit. And then you have Knox on your team, and I hate Dawson Knox. I think he's a trash player, so you get drugged down for that. Bitch. Number 5 is Joe Mitch. Waller is no longer the number 1 target. The only reason he was doing so well was because he was getting freaking 12 targets a game. I really think Darren Waller is a fall to the ground type of guy, even though he shouldn't be. Darren Waller should absolutely be a rack guy, or yak, I should say. But to me, he's just not. And I love TJ Hawkinson. And once again, you kind of have a problem, the same problem that Bryson's going to have. You're not going to know who to start week to week. Dude, with Devontae Adams is going to get like a 28% plus target share. There's not going to be a lot left between Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and whoever Josh McDaniels decides to throw the ball to a million times out of the backfield. Number 4 is JJ. Couple of TD threats with George Kittle and Pat Freiermuth, so good on that. I love it. Number 3 is Jason Pitts is the number 1 target on his team. That's what you want. And Pitts is a freaking wide receiver that you're playing at tight end. That's just how it is. Mountain Dew is so good. Number 2 is Corey. I just put Mandrews. That's all you need to know, Mandrews. And then number 1, I put Kelsey. That's me. Me, by the way. I have Travis Kelsey. He's going to catch 100 plus catches. He's going to have 100 plus catches this year. So there's just that. And then finally, we bring it up to our quarterbacks. Like I said, I didn't do IDP. Number 8, we've got Josh Jarrett, Cousins, and Rodgers. I don't like it. I don't know what you were doing there. You just wanted to draft players in the NFC North or old guys that don't run. Sure. Cool. Number 7, we got Jason Danger Russ. He's great, man. He is great, but he is, well, you're going to see he's ranked below the top 6 quarterbacks that I have listed here, or teams with quarterbacks, I should say. Are they going to let him actually throw the ball 35 plus times a game? If they do, I think he has a very good shot at being top 5. My guess is they don't want to do that. They want him to be efficient, just like he was in Seattle. They have 2 incredible running backs there. They have got a really good defense there. I worry that they're going to want him. They're going to want to stifle him, just like everybody else has, or just like Pete Carroll's dumb old ass has. So I worry about that. Number 6, we got Bryson. Mahomes is still Mahomes, even without Tyreek, but I think at least at first he's going to struggle a lot more than people think he's going to. Number 5, we got Nick. Once again, kudos for only drafting 1 quarterback. You drafted 1 quarterback and 1 tight end. That, my friend, is how you draft. That's why you were ranked 3 and 2, respectively, in the running back and wide receiver rankings, because you drafted really well, because you didn't take up 2 extra spots with stupid tight ends and quarterbacks. Dude, Murray is going to have the best weapons of his career once D-Hop returns in week 7. So I really think if he can stay healthy, Kyler Murray has a chance to be the number 1 fantasy quarterback this year. Number 4, we got Josh Mitchell, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady. That's a formidable force. You didn't need to draft both of them, but I get it. Both of them are going to be really great, in my opinion. Number 3, we got Cam. Jalen Hurts is the dude this year. I really, truly, in my heart, and I've bet on it, I think he's going to have a Lamar Jackson 2019 type of season this year, where he just goes the fuck off for like 35 touchdowns, 1,000 rushing yards and like 8 rushing touchdowns. I think it's going to happen, man. And he's got a legit number one now in A.J. Brown. So if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen this year. Yeah, soak that in. Number 2 is Eric. That's me. Justin Herbert, highest projected person in accordance with like this league scoring or whatever. We all know projections really don't mean shit, but the dude is tied to an incredible offense with crazy great weapons and a coach. This is something that people discount a lot. This coach goes for it more on fourth down than anybody else. So more opportunities to throw the ball means more opportunities to get fantasy points. I really love it. And the fact that division is going to be so crazy in the AFC West, they're going to be in shootouts. They're going to be in games that the total is going to go over 50 points more often than it's not. Even though they have a great defense, he's going to have to throw the ball if that team wants to win. And then Corey's number 1, Josh Allen, first quarterback in about a decade or maybe more to actually go back-to-back the quarterback number 1 finishes. My only concern at all is just to see, is that offense still going to hum as smoothly as it did now that they have lost Brian Daboll? My contention is Josh Allen made Brian Daboll and not the other way around, but we're going to see this year. That's the only thing I'd be worried about whatsoever. Like I said, I don't, it's really just too hard to say without a record or anything who is, number 1 and who is number 7 and who's number 8. And like, it's really just too hard to say. I will give a candid, off the cuff, freaking who I think. I think best draft. I think best draft goes to Nick Johnson. Legitimately, dude, to be third in the power rankings for running backs and to be second in wide receivers, that is phenomenal. I don't think anybody else averaged out to as good as you did as far as that goes. I think I might have had the worst draft personally. I really am not a huge fan of my team, but also, like I said in the running back segment, I was swinging for the fences, man. I'm going for these players like Chase Edmonds and shit that are going to set me apart because I'm so tired of finishing second. I can draft super safe all day long, but that doesn't win championships. So, but frankly, I didn't like my draft. I didn't think I drafted very well. It kind of, I don't know, got away from me or something. I don't know. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I am going to say in his first year in the league, Cam makes it to the championship game and loses to me. That's what's going to happen. There it is, ladies of Henry County Hard Knocks League. Eric is going to win the championship. That's me. Over Cameron Dale Hall in probably what's going to be a slaughter. Week 17. And it's just going to be great. And everybody's going to be super happy about it. All of you are going to be super happy about it. So it's going to be a great season. I will have legit power rankings after week 1, after we kind of see what everybody's teams kind of look like. But sorry if this ran long as fuck. Yeah, it did run long as fuck. But anyways, I always enjoy doing these things because this is a lot of fun. Realistically, I have no idea who is gonna win or not. That was just a silly, let me fuck with everybody type of prediction real quick. But I am 1,000% going to win this year. It's been too long. Three second place finishes in a row. Can't do it, man. Can't do it. But no, 4. If I get 4, I'm going to kill myself. And I'm going to take you all out with me. I'm going to fucking scream Allahu Akbar, and we're all going to blow up. But before I ramble anymore, let me cut this shit out. I will be back before week 2 with our power rankings. You boys be good. It's always a pleasure to talk with y'all. Always a pleasure to draft with y'all. I sincerely care for each and every one of you, and I love this league so much, and I love fantasy football so much, and I hope y'all feel the same. But anyways, I'm out of here. We'll see you next week.